is Brandy McDonald with the Oklahoman and News OK. I'm here at the Oklahoma City Museum of Art in the Roman Art from the Louvre special exhibition, which is in its final days. And I'm here with a couple of the curators from the Oklahoma City Museum of Art, Jennifer Kloss and Hardy George, and we're going to talk about the 5 must-see items in this exhibit before it leaves. Jennifer, why don't you start us off by talking about this mirror?
Well, one of the first pieces that I think is not to be missed here in the exhibit is an actual mirror, and it's a piece of silver. So it's not the mirror that we would typically think of as a glass mirror, and it's got intricate detail and a wonderful handle almost in the form of a column, a baluster. But it's got a specific story on it of Leda and the Swan, which is a famous Greek mythological tale of Leda, and she is being courted by the swan, which is actually Jupiter. He's turned himself into a swan. So it's got a great story to it, and this mirror would have been an important part of a woman's toilette set. And she would have had this as an important piece of her silver collection as well. So this entire case is part of the Boscoriale treasure, which was discovered in 1895, actually, and it was stashed away and saved in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, so in AD 79. So it's a wonderful piece from the Louvre and not to be missed.
All right, this is the next piece of the top 5 that we're going to talk about, and Hardy George is going to tell us a little bit about this one.
Thank you. The diptych is perhaps the most interesting thing in this case because it's a kind of tablet that was used to record things. And it didn't contain paper, it contained a piece of wax, so that they could actually inscribe notes on the wax. And we see here the head of the emperor seen in the center of this medallion, and you have a kind of hieratic presentation, a very formal presentation of the figure, which becomes characteristic, very characteristic of the portrayal of emperors in the late Roman period.
Now we're here with a pair of sculptures that are very unusual for this exhibit, and why don't you tell us a little bit about these rather Egyptian-looking sculptures?
Well, they are very Egyptian-looking because Egyptomania swept Rome in the late period, particularly during the period of Hadrian. The falcon, for example, is certainly an Egyptian motif. And of course, it's a fascinating work, very simple, and with these large staring eyes. The ape figure, which we would hardly associate with, well, I shouldn't say this, with intelligence, but he was respected. But I think now we feel that apes are quite intelligent. But certainly, traditionally, it's in the West. I don't think it's an animal that we would necessarily worship for its intelligence, but that was the case. During the Egyptian period, he was particularly revered by scribes, for example.
And here we are with the necklace that you were just referring to. Tell us a little bit about this particular piece.
Well, it's particularly fascinating because the coins that are attached to the end of the chain portray Hadrian and Trajan, 2 of the most powerful emperors during the great reign of the Roman Empire. It was a vast empire at this time, and many of their projects are absolutely monumental.
Jennifer, why don't you tell us a little bit? I understand this is one of several jewelry pieces that's in the exhibit.
Yes, this is just one of the exceptional pieces of jewelry that we have. There's another case in one of the following galleries where you will see this intricate and detailed craftsmanship that went into jewelry. They used a lot of gold, but they also used a lot of cut stones, semi-precious and precious stones. They actually used cameo glass as well as intaglio, which is a carving in an opposite of a cameo relief. And you will also see that this idea of adornment was very important to women. Men wore jewelry as well, but much more important for the woman to be seen in wearing this sense of wealth and status symbol as well.
We're here on our 5th and final object on our tour of the 5 must-see items in the exhibit, and why don't you guys tell us a little bit about this amazing, huge lintel that's here at the museum?
Well, it's work that hasn't been shown because of its size. I suppose that's the main reason, in the Louvre. Also, how did it reach the Louvre? Because it was found by Gavin Hamilton, Englishman, or Scotsman, let me put it that way, who did the excavations at Gabi in the late 18th century. He was not only an archaeologist, and we probably should put that term in quotes because they were really treasure hunters at that time, and he was an artist who worked in Rome and a very talented artist.
Jennifer, tell us a little bit more about what a lintel actually is.
Well, a lintel is used over a doorway, so it's usually over the top part of a doorway with two side supports. So as you can see here, it's nice to see it up high, and you can actually walk around it and walk underneath it if you like as well. But make sure to look up at the detail with the inscriptions as well.
In the Oklahoma City Museum of Art, this is Brandy McDonald. The Roman art from the Louvre closes on October the 12th, so please be sure not to miss it.